Pule Mulebati for Stories Untold. It's indeed the home of good news. Thank you for choosing us as your source of information today. The issue of mental health knows no age, no race, no class, and it definitely cuts across different dimensions in our societies. Nthabiseng's story makes it very apparent for us today. She shares her life story to make us aware in terms of how severe mental health can impact one's life.
Born and bred in the famous Boyne village in Limpopo, Nthabiseng Ngoepe has survived 3 suicide attempts, and instead this experience birthed the mental wellness coach and philanthropist that she is today. She opened up to Stories Untold about her past.
One of the points that changed the trajectory of my life was finding myself as a pregnant teenager, abandoned, so to speak, by the father of the baby, completely denying that he is the father. That led to my first suicide attempt. Interestingly enough, the second incident, also relational. I was in, I would say, multiple relationships, not in the same time, but from relationship to relationship to relationship, where I experienced and endured a lot of abuse, even leading up to, from my first marriage. I suffered a lot of abuse in the marriage, financially, psychologically, a deprivation of, being myself, an expression of who I was, to the point where I silenced myself. And eventually, when I got out of that marriage, I fell into the same trap again, just abusive relationship after abusive relationship. So I've battled with mental health for quite a while in my life. And I am, by the grace of God, at a place where I can say, yeah, that's no longer the story of my life.
One person who knows too well the pain Nthabiseng went through is her father, who is very much a part of her life and the success she now enjoys.
Mara tabe ke ile ke tloe ka ho ila tsia bophelo ya gagwe ka bua o ilanya ka tswa bophelo ya gagwe ka modimo o gona ke leboga modimo a ile a dira wa ska ba tja bophelo mara ge o ka mo utlwela story sa ga botse gora ba tla fitlha fa o ile di challenge tse dintsi je mo ile gore ne ka lenyalo le ke lenyalo la bobedi mo ile gore monna ba robala ka sethunya. And then Moe, I give blame, get out of this marriage. How was in taboo who did you cool over a copana le Murutumepe? Wagan, Conam becoming a cruise. But the Tavia would like go jar, and Chara was Mara Kileva, you might have a I
became closer to my dad because I lived with my dad. And that is when I started learning, the importance of being vocal as a person. It's my dad who made me realize that no one expects me to stay in an abusive marriage. It's my dad who made me realize the value of my life. It's my dad who made me realize the authenticity that I need to retain in my voice.
This mother and wife strongly believes in family, and the warmth of her home is testimony to that.
When we deal with mental health as a family, we are repairing the generational ills that took place to my being here. And at the same time, we are equipping me to what I will plow into my children. And for me, that is the greatest achievement we can have in terms of building the family structure, where relationships are able to be repaired, where brokenness is able to be confronted for the healing of a generation. And we see that, transcending itself to those who are to come. For me, mental health holistically is when we are body, mind, soul, spirit-wise aligned. When I know where I'm going, it's easier for me to lead. Communities are built from families. The overall society comes from the unit of a family. Churches come from families as well. So we get that structure, mentally. We can fix half of the problems that our society is facing.
As mentioned earlier by her dad, Nthabiseng's husband is indeed an integral part of the woman we see today.
My husband is a pillar and the core of a lot of what I do, particularly on the authoring and the ministry. Very wise man, and has a lot of grace and favor with people. He's such a people's person, so he makes my life easier.
Ntho ke ratang ka mosadi wa ka ke gore o na le pelo e botse, o na le lerato, not for family high fela, everybody. Ke ntho gore ke ratang ka ena. Healing as ntho ya one day. E ka tšea for 10 years, 20 years, re tlameha re be patient, and ka o fetiša re be le lerato le support go ba supporta, because ka moka a rena a se taba ya mosadi o ba monna, ka both of us re tšwa le mafapheng a fapaneng, di-family tše fapaneng, re gotše ka tsela e itšeng, go na le dintho tše di re gobaditšeng both of us. Then but ge re tlo ba together, o mo one o tlamehile a be patient for the other until I ba completely healed. Then ge a le completely healed, le yena o tlo kgona go nthuša go heala. Then re ba le a family e lo reng e happy, re ba le a family e lo reng e stable. Then re kgona go bona dintho ka leitlho le lengwe.
Welcome back to Stories Untold. Attorney Nthabiseng takes time out of her busy schedule to teach young people about the importance of dealing and maneuvering mental health issues. And one of the key things that she brings forward today is it's important to create a safe space where one can share without judgment.
When not at home, Nthabiseng leads a team of young professionals at her law firm.
She leads by example. As a woman in church, she's very hands-on when we do this work. So that's why I say she leads by example. She does everything with us. I mean, it's not like she'll just give you a task and leave you like that. She'll first show you the ropes, how to do it. And she's not afraid to get hands-on and get dirty. It's not about where she's at. She'll stoop down to our level and do the work that we do and move with you along up until she feels, you know what, now you're ready to go on your own.
Nthabiseng's healing journey has since become healing for many. She hosts a weekly show on which she uses her life experiences to allow others to heal.
There's a lot that is put on the widows that is not on the men. Catch me on Healing Conversation with Nthabiseng Ngoepe this Tuesday, 6:30, right here on TBN.
In terms of the topics that we choose, I know the pain of infidelity. I've suffered that in my life. I know the struggles of unemployment. That's why I almost took my life for the third time. I know the mental health effects of almost every topic that we cover. And those that I have not suffered, I find the people who can bring us into that space. In as much as there are experiences that we don't think have an adverse mental effect on us, They do. Something as simple as load shedding has got the nation in panic. People are scared for their jobs. So we've got to bring South Africa and Africa into that space so that we all are learning how to comfort and be compassionate towards one another. Indirectly, what we are doing is lessening the rate of suicide. That's our goal. At 70% deaths by suicide in Africa, it's a lot. So we've got to do it somehow. If we do it by sharing the stories, so be it. If we resuscitate hope by saying it's not going to end like this, look at that one, how it ended, then so be it. And if we do it from reminding people who God says they are, then I'll gladly do it any day.
God of perfect timing. Sibabaza ubukhulu bakho, Jehovah.
One of the things she does to take along many into the healing space is hosting mental wellness workshops.
Just this past weekend, we held an event, a mental dialogue, and we called it Wellness and Wholeness. And, you come across people from different walks of life, strangers who just basically attend an event that you're hosting. And I'm specific in my choice because sometimes our help is readily available to those we know, but we have no idea the impact we are doing in the lives of strangers, And I saw people posting on their Facebook platforms, on their, comment sections, how this event has impacted them. Someone said, I didn't know I had problems. I thought I'm just fine.
The seed has to be planted in your soul. It's got to be planted in your spirit. It's got to be.
And for me, that is what my cause is about. That is what my life is about. That is why the pain that I endured, the rejection that I endured, the hardships, I can take so much pride in them now because I see the work that they are doing for other people.
Nthabiseng believes that getting education positively impacted her life, and she shared with us how that motivated her to educate girl children in her community.
My life could have easily turned into something else. The story of Nthabiseng could have become a sad tale had, I not held on to the encouragement to go to school. I see so often that young females fall into the trap of teenage pregnancy, and it tends to, or should I say perpetuate itself. Once they have one child, the second child is almost on the way. And I looked at myself and I saw my story in those young ladies. And that's why I always come back to the issue of education. How different am I to them? Not at all in any way. It could easily have been me, but for the university degree, but for the qualification that I have. One of the girls that we educated with my husband is Linky. She's a qualified chef. And she had a baby. And soon thereafter, she had another baby. And when she had the second baby, she was already enrolled at the academy, the hospitality school. So she wanted to give up. And the mother was like, Mom, Ruti, you don't have to do further. You have done a lot. And I said to my husband, if we leave her now, because she doesn't see the value to finish her studies anymore. But I kept going back. Something kept saying to me, go back.
Today, the girl she saved, Linky Rapokwani, is a qualified chef.
Being a mother, I thought it was the end of the world for me. I wanted nothing to do with people. Like, I was just always indoors and everything. So, but they saw something in me. That's what I think they did. So they saw something in me that made them stand up, and they couldn't stand us in just to sit and do nothing. In 2019, I was in my matric. Then when I finished off, my dream was to be a chef, and he founded that. He took me to school, and yeah, that's what I am today because of her. She paid the fees and everything. My parents were not working, so she came in for that. They were not working, so I was supposed to just stay at home for a gap year maybe or something like that. So she couldn't stand that. She said I must go to school for something that I always wanted to be. Then that was being a chef. I went to the school and she paid for that because my parents were not working.
This philanthropist is very passionate about the well-being of community. She has made it her mission to provide a meal to this community every week. Linky makes sure to give a hand in this initiative as a way of giving back to the woman who gave her a lifeline.
Today, as we unpack issues of mental health as well as follow Nthabiseng's story, we invite you to be part of this particular conversation. What are you doing in your community to make people around you aware of how they can maneuver issues of mental health? Talk to us on social media. We are on Twitter at Stories Untold SABC. We continue with Nthabiseng's story.
Once a week, this community gathers here as one big family to share a meal.
We feed the communities that we are in simply because compassion is at the heart of what we are. It's at the heart of everything that we do. And we see the poverty around us, and this started in COVID. We saw the poverty around us and we thought it's surely there's somewhere that we can start. We had no donors, we still have no donors, but we thought we will start where we are. And if where we are is what we are able to provide, then we will move in that direction. We don't feed them what we would not eat. We feed them what we have in our own homes. And that communicates to them that we are valued, we are valuable.
As if that is not enough, through her Ngoepe Foundation, her philanthropic work is extended to a number of schools in her community.
The clothing of people as well. We work with schools that we have adopted towards that initiative. And schools, because they are at the forefront of identifying the children, they can see this child doesn't have anything. We see them at church, and that is how it was birthed. We saw them coming in on Sundays, and we thought, this child doesn't have clothes. So naturally, it lets you think if they don't have clothes to come to church, probably they don't have uniform to go to school. That's how Help Clothe Someone was birthed.
This school is part of the fiber that is Ngoepe Foundation. It is part of the fiber that is God's Word at Work Ministries. It is part of the fiber that Help Clothe Somebody. So it was necessary for us to start here.
Woo, the place is very cold. This place is very cold. But the Ngoepe Foundation is turning it the other way because they are buying this learners, the tracksuit, the jerseys, and it's much better, even though it is geographically cold. I don't know, maybe it's because of the slope the place is facing, but it's typically very cold. Ngoepe Foundation is a parent to the teachers and also the learners. The learners, in case of need, they are supplied with a school uniform by the foundation.
This is a cause that is close, very close to our hearts. It's at the core of our purpose. It's educating people, clothing people, feeding people.
We are hosting the Ngoepe Foundation, who volunteered to donate shoes, track shoes, and then other utilities out of their own pockets to our vulnerable and orphan children, then we feel very much proud of that today.
Nthabiseng has impacted the lives of many and left a lot of grateful hearts.
I would say to her, thank you for being the woman that you are. Thank you for the opportunity that you've given me when other people wouldn't open the door for me, but you opened the door for me, gave me employment, also opened the heart in a way you mother us in this form. So thank you just for being here. Yeah.
I would like to encourage her to stay humble, to continue loving people, because she's someone who loves people very much, and then so that she can accomplish what God has called her to do.
I believe that I'm standing here because I held on to something. And for me, it's been my relationship with God. But for somebody who's struggling with mental health, it's important to find something to hold on to. If it's not God, find something. You know, find a purpose, find a hobby, find something that you treasure, you know, that can keep you getting out of bed every morning, and that can say to you, it's not the end. It can get better.
We've reached the end of our show, but just before I say goodbye, I'd like to leave you with this thought. In a world where you can be anything, choose to be kind. We are all battling wars that no one knows anything about. And just like that, I'd like to say goodbye. Let's do this again, same time, same place.